Yeah.
All right, we'll get it.
Yeah, that's perfect then. I just, if you had it, I would.
Right.
We'll go by your computer, okay. I'd like to call this meeting of the Penn County Area School District to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Anderson,
Present.
Baderford,
Present.
Doobie,
Present.
Palmaville,
Present.
Jones,
Present.
Kuchar,
Present.
and Rabish present, 7.
Thank you. Well, we got a little taste of spring this weekend. Hopefully it comes back soon. Any deletions, additions, changes to the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
We have a
Support.
motion. We have support in discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Community comments on any of the agenda items? Anybody like to address the board? Anybody? All right, thank you. Student Spartans.
Thank you, Mr. Kuchar. It was my honor to honor this month's, or last month's Student of the Month. For our middle school Student of the Month, our overall winner was Sarah Yaros. She was nominated by Miss Maxwell. Sarah always has a great attitude, works hard, and is one of the first to always participate in class discussions. She volunteers to do daily classroom tasks, whether it's passing out papers or coming up to the board to write out and show work to the math problems being discussed from previous day lessons. Keep up the hard work. Your overall Student of the Month for middle school is Sarah Yarrow. And now our high school Student of the Month is Nina Schott, nominated by Miss Maxwell and Mrs. Eigner. Nina has done an amazing job during her first year of high school. She is quiet, a young lady. She is a quiet young lady, works hard, works extra hard 100% of the time, and is always engaged in every lesson. During second semester, she has started to speak out more, gain confidence, and participate more verbally in class discussions. Keep up the hard work. That's from Miss Maxwell. Nina is an awesome person and a great student. She works hard and completes all tasks asked of her. She is also a positive, friendly source of energy in her classes. She is a great addition to Payne County High School. Your Student of the Month for the high school, Miss Nina Schott.
Thank you, Ms. Woodruff, and congratulations to both those students. Consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda and pay bills totaling $673,503.40.
Support.
We have a motion of support. Any discussion on these items? Seeing none, need a roll call vote, please.
Baderford,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Doobie,
Yes.
Palmaville,
Yes.
Rabish, yes, Kuchar,
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Communication, Mr. View.
Thank you, Mr. Kuchar. Tonight I want to recognize our class of 2020 top 10. I know this will be put in the journal eventually here, and just want to make sure we get the accolades out to our top 10. Tyler Floyd was our valedictorian with a 4.13889 GPA. Caitlin Marie Ford was our salutatorian at 4.09 with a bunch of 4s behind it. Anissa Overly was 3, Brielle Herner was 4, Rowan Pulaski is 5th, Rain Jarvis was 6, Melissa Piro was 7, Carly Lozon was 8, 9 was Katie Gingrich, and we actually had a tie for the 10th slot this year. Numerically, it was identical all the way to the 5th decimal point. Olivia Moore and Madeline Rescue. So those are our top 10. Want to congratulate them. And Mr. Woodruff, you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, they're just, we had a meeting, to, you know, honor them and everything, and they're just a great group of kids. They're always doing what they're told to do. And they have a good sense of humor about them too. They're always making me hard time. So really proud of them, and I'm really excited to see what they do, in the next venture, whatever, you know, the future has in store for them. So really proud of them.
When does that normally go to the journal? Are you gonna do?
We normally publish that the second week in May.
Okay.
So first week is, the first week is, Mayor's Scholarship, second week we print the top 10.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I wanted to hit on commencements 2020, and again, Mr. Woodruff can help me on this one. We've decided, unless there's an objection from the board about having an outdoor ceremony again, similar to what we had last year, outdoors, we would also set up the gym in case there was some inclement weather in the new gym where we could hold the commencement. So I told Mr. Woodruff that in the past, it's always been the principal's call as far as weather, and we will continue that tradition when that day arises. If there's storm clouds brewing, I remember as a young principal, the clouds were rolling in from the west, and I told the band, it's time for double time, we needed to get home.
And Mr. View kind of warned me that this is a lot of work, and I might, you know, have a head hair that looks like his after it's said and done, but.
Is something wrong with that?
But I think I mean, to have it outdoors it's really nice to allow pretty much anybody to come in, and be accessible to the public. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to, hopefully we have a year like last year, which is amazing, perfect weather, so.
We'll be able,
Loud, so just take care of it.
and we'll be able to draw for new bleachers.
Yes. That would be a good opportunity to do that as well. Okay, so it sounds like I don't hear any objection to an outdoor
No,
commencement.
I love it outdoors, it's just, yeah, like, you're not restricted, anybody can come, it's nice to have the kids not have to restrict anyone, their families or friends, and it's just not so hot and stuffy.
Yes. And you know, yeah, and it's cooled down a little bit in the evening by that time, but at one, like years and years ago when we had it on Sunday at like 1, it was pretty roasty in those
Yeah,
green roads. I think we'll be good. It'll give us some, but again, we'll kind of know going into the forecast, and you know that they get the forecast right all the time. So all right.
Anyways, the moon might have snow.
Yeah, we might. I just wanted to shine a little a light on our technology department, just give you an update. Jay's working hard. I wanted to make sure that some of the things in the board pack I'm gonna hit on. I'm gonna let Jay talk about a few things, but just as far as our technology and the ISD, I think we're right up there with everybody. In fact, some of these areas were, if not. Because I know recently I was at a superintendent's meeting, they discussed this. Some of the software we recently installed, it's called the Sophos Endpoint Protection on the desktop, so that we don't have malware. The board approved that a while back, based on a recommendation from Jay and I. And I think a lot of schools are still trying to do that because our SETSEG is our insurance company. They don't want us getting zapped by the malware. So I can tell you in the room, there were very few schools, including the IC, that had some of this already installed. Jay's made a point of getting fiber over to our bus garage. That was an undertaking because we had a battle. Certain companies that didn't really want to work with us when it came to putting the fiber on a pole. And it took a lot of patience and persistence. Would that be a way to say it?
Should have been done in a year, it took like 2, so. Yeah.
You know, one of the things we've done recently, we talked to parents, we talked with staff and the administration, we blocked the majority of social media sites that kids have access to on their Chromebooks. It was easy to do before all the students had their Chromebooks. Basically, you blocked it at the when you were in a computer lab, because there was a teacher there, but now when they're home, we made an attempt to block those. I mean, you know, they may find a way to get around it, but for the most part, we're trying to at least not have the easy access to the social media. You know, preparing Chromebooks, now that we have, everyone has one in K-12, getting them in, collecting them, and redistributing them throughout the years, we're trying to refine that process, so I think we're doing a good job there. It's just a matter of, you know, that one can still be fine-tuned a little bit.
Yeah, we'll probably have another meeting there sometime in May.
One of the things we were able to do recently, based on some security recommendations and actually, the affordability of it, we're gonna have phones in all the classrooms now, where teachers will have the ability to dial out, correct? Mr.
Yes.
Sandra?
They can dial out, they won't be able, so they won't, like, any calls coming in, we'll go to the office first, they can be transferred to them, but people won't be able to direct dial into a classroom, that way they don't get interrupted, like, in the middle of class or something like that, so. But they will be able to call the office, like, anytime. Extension to now.
And then we talked about Wiser, the education piece. We had all of our staff go through the cybersecurity training modules, and we got a great response from our unions. That just basically put the awareness that you shouldn't click on this if it looks suspicious. But I thought the training was pretty easy to follow, and I think we got some pretty good feedback on it. So, Jay, if you want to touch on any of the upgrades of fiber or switches, I mean, you can.
Yeah, sure. So the maintenance project that took so long, for me was pretty important because it allowed us to get rid of the connection that we had at the bus garage that we were paying a certain company like $600 a month for. Another cool thing about that project was it was an E-rate project. So the federal government covered 80% cost of running the fiber, and we only had to pay 20%, which is always a good thing. We actually just upgraded all of our internal fiber using the same program, so we're going to have a 10 gigabit backbone inside of our buildings, which is actually pretty, for bigger districts, it's not that uncommon, but for a district our size, it's pretty impressive, I think. And again, since the FCC pays for 80% of that, you know, why not? The next step will be replacing the fiber that's underground, like between this building and Central and this building and the Advanced Academy and this building and the warehouse. We're going to try and apply for FCC funding for that too. Because again, if they're going to pay for 80%, why not? Yeah, getting ready to order some more Chromebooks. We have some Chromebooks that are getting end of life. Google's not going to update them anymore, so we're trying to leverage some of the ACF funds, which I can't remember what it stands for now because I'm not great at talking like that. So we're looking at leveraging some of that. We already did leverage some of it. We got 400 Chromebooks to replace some of the old ones, and we're looking at getting maybe another 700, hopefully. Yeah. I mean, I can answer any questions if you have specific ones. I don't know if he gave you the full list. I gave.
Yeah, I updated.
I don't want to bore you.
But just the one thing that you heard him say, and I wanted him to kind of go through it. A lot of the things we get through E-rate, we get more bang for our buck when it goes through and the FCC kicks in that E-rate. And you gotta be, you don't always, that's not a guarantee. You gotta write the projects that are going to get awarded that money. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of focus on tech. Any more comments or questions about where we're headed technology-wise?
I think where we're at in Burberville is really good compared to districts around. You know, Jay, you're always on top of stuff with cutting edge stuff and trying to keep us right there. So I applaud your effort and your work. You do great. So keep it up.
Thank you.
I was gonna say that the training was like I took the training. I'm not training the other board members did, but I've done trainings through my own work and they weren't as good as this one. I mean, a lot of deep stuff that I didn't even know. I was like,
I thought
oh,
so.
wow, okay, that's scary. Some of the stuff out there that you really have to be careful on. But
There's more modules too that we could push in the future if we want. We just wanted to at least get the basics out there
Sure.
for the staff. And
Maybe even
you
just
know,
like
that
annual
part.
refreshers to remind people
Yeah.
would be good, I
We'll
think.
probably include it in our beginning of the year packet where the teachers can review it.
I mean, 'cause it was really easy, it didn't take that long.
And they're somewhat interesting, they weren't just boring.
Yeah, I mean, it shared like real life stories of people that had, yeah, got screwed by some of the malware and just clicking on the wrong link in an email and,
Well, people are getting savvy, they're coming in with emails that you reckon, like I got one from the county, I think I mentioned to the board, I was working with an individual at the county, and, it was pretty much online with the things we were talking, it was a little strange. So I reached out, it was actually Sheriff Cunningham, and not long after their whole system went down, that was about the same time, so.
yeah, one of the real life people that were sharing their stories were saying how they got the email and she's like, oh, she called the number on the email to confirm because she wasn't sure, and she's like, yeah, that's your email. I mean, they actually have people answering the phones, and so she thought it was legit, so she went ahead and she clicked on the link, and it wasn't legit. So yeah, that's scary. The links that they're going to now to hack you.
Are them old Chromebooks good for anything?
They do still work. You just can't get updates for them. Security wise, it's not really a big deal, but like M-step testing requires a certain version of Chrome OS, and if Google isn't supporting them, they won't upgrade past that point. So like we actually had some virtual kids who had some of the older ones, and they came in to M-step test, and they had to use some of the ones that we had here because the version just didn't allow them to. So a lot of times what we do is we recycle them and we get money back. So
I'm just
like a
wondering,
company, they take care of them.
We just don't throw them
Or
in
we,
the dumpster,
we
right?
use them for parts. No,
Okay.
not unless it's like a kid puked on it or something.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Good, thanks, Jake. You're good, Mike?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any questions for Mike? All right, reports from administrative staff?
So first off, just wanted to let you know, we have our spring teacher PD plan May 11th. The focus for that is gonna be going over restorative practices, and then some social emotional learning strategies. I have Jennifer Ayers coming in, Russia Wagner, and Richmond Cole from the ISD coming in to support the staff at that. Our title amendment has been submitted and approved, so funding is available for that. At my building level, grade 5, my M-step is completely finished. Grade 3 will start tomorrow, and then next week will be grade 4, hopefully wrapping that up within the next couple of weeks. Also, we have end of the year, our 5th grade will be going on an end of the year celebration field trip to Dow. Northwood University has gifted their box suite at the Dow Center, so they're going to be able to watch the Loons game on May 17th.
Need a chaperone for that?
Pardon?
Need a chaperone for that?
We did put out a plan. Anyways, but that's what is going on.
All right, thank you. Other administrators?
To piggyback on that, our M-Step 6 starts tomorrow. We're probably about halfway done with testing. So hopefully our sixth graders went home tonight and will get a good rest and eat a good breakfast tomorrow and be ready for the test. Athletically, our varsity boys baseball team traveled to Marlette this weekend and won that tournament. So congratulations to Coach Pashik and the varsity baseball team.
So just wanted to kind of make note to the public that we did put a list of end of the year events on our website. So it's a Google Doc. If you go to our high school page or our middle school page, you go down to quick links. You can see all of the end of year events, the dates of them, what they are, and everything like that. As we get closer to the end of the year, field trips, things like that kind of just pop up, and it gets a little chaotic because there's so many things going on. So we put that document out there so parents, teachers, staff, everybody can know what's going on and what days they're happening. As Mr. Andrews said, we have M-Step 6 tomorrow. We finished up M-Step 8. Still working on work keys and makeup, SAT makeup tests. Those are finishing up here very soon. We did we approve?
Yeah, it was part of the
Okay,
consent.
so, we did have, a band, candidate apply. We had a great committee, had a slew of candidates. It was actually very refreshing to have a number of candidates apply for those positions. So it tells me there's still people going up to teach, so that's a good thing, with all the teacher shortage things that are happening. So we hired, Mr. Billingsley. We are working on an agreement with him in his, current school district, because we don't want to put them in the same position that we were in, with not having a, band teacher for the latter part of the year, with, concerts and graduation ceremonies coming up every day. So we're working something out with them, where he's here a couple times a week. So we're excited about that. He was here today. Kids did great. Yeah, we're excited for the future with that. Ginger, do you have any further comments?
Just the comments from my children, when they came home, they were overly enthused about what he did with the classroom and very excited to be working on it. So I think we picked a great candidate.
It's great.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
I'd like to compliment Kyle on the committee he put together for that. Ginger Tomac was part of it, but he had teachers, he had administrators, parents, so it was a nice committee to put together to have it.
At Central Elementary, we also will be doing grades 3 and 4 for the MSTEP starting tomorrow. Last week, Rotary members Mrs. Bader and Mr. Stoner came by and presented seedlings to our 5th grade students. And today, Mrs. Palmaville came by and discussed with our 5th grade students the moving to 6th grade. GSRP, later this week, I think Thursday, they will be visiting the kindergarten classrooms. And also GSRP graduation will be Thursday, May 12th at 6 o'clock in the school gym.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I have a pledge of a donation from Charles for our prom for this year of $500. I'm supposed to have a check, but I have a pledge to the sister, but the funds have been promised and they're on their way, and I've talked to Kristen Clagy, so she's aware of it, and I'd like to give this one so that so he can present it to the prom committee.
Great, thank you very much. That's very generous.
Thank you, Sue.
That's everybody. All right, do we have any committee meetings?
Nope.
No? All right, on to the non-consent
Had one
agenda.
last week, or last. Yeah.
Took myself all off the 3 that eat the most, so I don't know anymore. The non-consent agenda regarding the high school gym floor bid.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the bid of Bay Area Specialty Flooring at $38,996 plus $2,000 contingency to redo the gym floor. They'll sand it down and resurface it.
Motion support, any discussion on this?
They're the same company that did it the first time. And they're the ones, they can come in here early June. They said they'll be able to work, so should give it plenty of time to cure and be ready to go.
Sounds good. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Bader,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Doobie,
Yes.
Palmaville,
Yes.
Rabish, yes, Kuchar,
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you, motion carries. Public comments, anybody like to address the board about anything? Yes, sir.
Just wanted to know about I have two kids gonna be in the district. The before school program, obviously with COVID and everything else, is there any plans to bring back the potential before school program for the elementary?
Yes, with an inquiry like that, your best bet's to get it together with the principals. I don't know if there's an easy solution or if that's something still being wrapped up. But
Mr. Sanford, we discussed that recently, okay?
anybody else, public comment?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I've heard, and the rumor mill, how that works, that the soccer field that's potentially coming in, which we do need a soccer field on our home turf, is gonna be going where the boys JV baseball field is. And I was told that that is being tore up and not replaced. Is there a plan on putting another JV baseball
baseball field in, or are you guys just like mixing, having a baseball field? Or is that just like rumor mill?
You know, that's the way it was drawn through the site committee, and as of that field wasn't used for its intended purpose for many years.
They played last year on that field.
Well, it's news to me.
Can I-
Yeah, absolutely.
When the site committee met, they don't use that field enough to justify keeping it and keeping the upkeep on it, that they can use the varsity field. They do play on it, but it was very sporadic. And there's no reason that we can't schedule the varsity and the JV so they're staggered so they can use the other field. And that way everything's on this complex instead of us going over, over Dr. Field Park, everything would be here. And we did look at that, but they weren't using it enough to justify keeping it.
Have you guys ever thought of like the girls' JV baseball field, fixing that up and using that as like a practice field for all the teams? That way, like, instance tonight, varsity had a game, JV's game got canceled, and they have the field there now, but next year, or whenever they build a soccer field, they're not going to have a place to practice. So that eliminates a whole practice day for them, because I know the girls' JV field is pretty rough shape too.
I do know that, Mr. Shoemaker has a field at the old Casey Hall, and that he did say that any of the teams that wanted to practice there, he was more than willing, if I'm not mistaken, to let anybody practice there. And that way, we can only do one project at a time, and if he has a field where they can practice, there's no reason we can't utilize. It's close enough and it's in town, and all we gotta do is just let him know that, hey, we want, the JV girls wanna come and practice, just a heads up. And
So you have good suggestions and questions. The best thing to do for that is actually put them in writing, and you can address it to the board office, Mr. View, and he'll get it, disseminate that to the right committee, and we can and you can request, I mean, we always post it, but you can request to be notified when that committee meets.
Okay.
So, because that type of stuff's done in a little bit more informal setting than this. So, this is supposed to be public comment, but we want to get answers out, but that's the best way to get the information out and have a better exchange, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, discussion items from the board?
Yeah, I was just wondering, we talked about a few projects going on. Bus garage, what do we know about their driveway?
Bus garage, that driveway we're looking at, I don't have any numbers yet, but that is gonna be a very large project. Is it more, do you want me to get some bids on, are we talking paving it or gravel?
Well, I wanted to piggyback on the fact that I've been through, and actually I've talked to Chris. I drove through Linwood, and I don't think you can park anywhere in that lot as a staff member, not walk through the mud.
And that's the new parking lot to the east.
Yes.
Yeah, and we were getting gravel out there, but the weight restrictions and stuff, I think did Turk just get some there recently? If he hasn't.
Yes, but
Yeah. Well, part of that issue is we because of COVID, we have, Mrs. Shireen has the staff parking in the east side of it was a gravel lot.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's being used more, where we paved on the west side is in good shape. I mean, if we want to continue, I guess we need to make a decision whether or not we want cars to park where we want teachers to park. Because if we want the flow and one of the reasons why we put the cars in the back was so there wasn't as much.
with the structure of the drop off and pickup, I mean, I drove out today, the west parking lot is packed with parents dropping off and picking up. If my staff park there, my families will be in a line, or there's gonna be backups, or there's going to be accidents. Just because the room, it's not big enough for the number of pickups and drop offs. So teachers park in the back lot, and if they move to the other side where it's paved.
So
It's gonna-
right
you're
now,
gonna
the
have-
teachers are having to trudge through a muddy parking lot to come into school.
Correct.
Oh.
Maybe they're buying boots.
Yeah. Maybe keep it by boots, yeah.
So, I mean,
Farming solution.
the weight
Huh?
restrictions should be lifted
I mean, I
pretty
can-
soon, right? Is that what we're waiting for? Once the weight restrictions are lifted, we can get someone to come in there and put more gravel there.
I can get more gravel.
Yeah, they can.
It really needs to be paved.
I mean,
So
that'd
is
be-
that, what are the finance, do we have
We got COVID
funding?
money for that?
I can talk to the
Yeah.
subcommittee about it. I mean,
Can
really,
we
I,
make up some?
No, it doesn't quite
I know.
qualify.
Can we
It
start?
is technically a COVID related because it is a safety issue and I had to reconfigure the way my students exit and enter the building.
Well, there you
for
go.
There you go.
reasons.
So do we have
Gray
some
area
COVID
approach.
money left that we can do this and get paved?
Should we-
Do it the right way?
Under the Washington.
yeah, we can get a bid for that.
I think we should.
I think that's what we have to
Well,
do,
we-
is
Yeah.
find out what.
Yeah, we'll find out what we can do.
Okay.
Got restrictions.
Oh, yeah, yes, but there's also, that whole sign needs to be paved.
Yeah.
Before the buses come in, you're looking at
It's fortunate.
a lot of, you're looking at a significant amount of blacktop.
Mm-hmm.
So you want me to get a bid for the
Yes,
whole, where the bus comes in all the way to the what, to the south?
Next fall.
Take care of it all. If we're gonna do it right.
Okay. We can look into that.
We can hoist signal.
Second one, what do we know about the, I don't know if I brought it up here, shop? I know the door we have.
The door should have been ordered, they told me it was ordered. And then the boiler, we just got
Oh, on the heater, yeah.
the heater, we got a quote from Meals for approximately $10,000, so I think that's something we could probably do
So
this summer.
Having Meals do it.
They're the first, yeah, they're the ones that worked on it.
Okay. What about ceiling? The bathroom, did they go look at it, see what was leaking there?
I will double check on that.
Okay. And my last one is, I know they met, what do we know on the, we were talking about the stipend for the teachers. You know, we know where we moved. I know it went through one of the committees.
Site committee discussed it, we're gonna bring it back up, or not site, the budget committee prior to the end of the year was what was talked about.
Okay.
And that, is that what I recall, isn't that what we
Yeah.
talked about? So I can set up a meeting with the site, with the budget.
Anything.
Yeah, that will work. But yeah, we gotta make that happen so we can get the payment out in June if that we choose to do that. So it's done on this year's budget.
No, it wasn't just teacher.
Well, I know.
I think so.
Yeah,
Is that
and
what
you
they're
got
making
it, so.
Do you wanna check our calendars and see what we got right now?
Oh, I replaced you at that meeting on Monday, that's what I'm asking.
Oh,
about.
yes, yes.
Okay.
You couldn't make it, use the alternate.
He's the alternate.
So, yes. We can get together after the meeting and set that up. It's fine. Any other discussion items?
How about the kindergarten numbers for incoming kindergartners for next year?
Kindergartner numbers, we just talked about today, I had a meeting with my principals. Looks like, around in the 80s right now, low 80s, which if we get it, we normally get influx in the summer. Could be a 100 student class. We talked about some of the ramifications of staffing, what that's gonna look like. We have some special needs students in the, coming in kindergarten classroom size, and certain types of apparatus might also put a strain on how many kids we can put there. So there has been discussion of maybe adding a fourth section of kindergarten at Linwood, or, okay, at Central. Just preliminary thoughts, but it ties into what you were saying, to try and keep those class sizes down at the lower level. We could access, I'm pretty sure we could access some COVID money to do the class size reduction, learning loss. But then I have to meet with our policy committee because we have, I met with the ISD recently, and I don't know if it's policy, budget, I'll just throw it out to the full board. The way that they operate their ISD programs right now, as far as the students in them, there is a push to get those students into gen ed settings, and then they would be dual enrolled students. They'd be part ours, part ISD, and that could create some issues with staffing and sizes, not knowing when these students are gonna access general ed. So it's kind of a switch in how they operate the program, so I need to get more clarification and meet with, meet with policy maybe and see if we want those rooms. Cause it could, like at Linwood, we only have one section per grade level. It's kind of full and a student is in one of the ISD programs, is transitioning back into general ed, then that could be the problem with class size at that point. We're not knowing going in and how many people we have. So, maybe it's not that grade level, maybe there's some flexibility where we can put them in different classrooms, but we would get funding as well. We'd get a portion of the FTE. So if the student did art and music or PE, but it's when they get into the classroom that it's could cause some issues. The students in those programs, those test scores and testing, data goes back to the district. And those are just some changes. I met with Suzanne Masters from the ISD just on Friday and still trying to get that. I know that led into a bigger explanation than what that you were looking for, but it's kind of tied in together. Kindergarten numbers right now are looking pretty steady. Mid-80s, that'd be accurate, Mr. Sandberg? And there are some retentions built into that number too.
Other discussion items? Now I'll take a motion for adjournment. So moved. Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You're adjourned.
Thank you.